you know, whoever your hero is, if it's Malcolm X, if it's Dr. King, if it's a local leader,
Right.
man, they dealt with all of this. Like Dr. King, I talk to people about this time where Dr. King moved up to Chicago
Mm-hmm.
and literally decided he was going to move into the projects to speak about public housing and disparity in housing.
Right.
And Chicago gave him hell, man. Not just white Chicago, but a big part of black Chicago as well.
Mm.
And it was pretty much a fake Dr. King. It's not a
It
moment
was
of
a
his
what?
life that I said it was that time of his life where they moved up to Chicago was almost a failure.
Mm.
And you don't hear a whole lot about the time he spent in Chicago. There's so many people when Dr. King was killed, his approval rating was in the negative, not just with white folk, but with black folk as well.
His
And
approval rating was in the negative.
man, he had with black folk, he had a 54% disapproval rating the week
Damn.
before he was killed. And he had like a 75% disapproval rating. Bernice will post this from time to time. It was with Gallup polling,
Damn.
and he was one of the least popular leaders in the country with black folk and with white folk
Damn.
the week before he was killed. You know,
And
when
then he
when
died and
Malcolm
his
was
approval
killed,
rating shot through the roof.
no, that's literally what happened. It almost completely reversed. And the same
Man,
was true of Malcolm
that
X.
is disheartening.
Malcolm X had a horrible approval rating with black folk and white folk. And people understand that there were white folk who didn't approve of him. His approval ratings were worse than Dr. King's. And so now, in our community at least, we see him as like a sacred figure. But it wasn't that way when he was alive, man. These guys were struggling even in our own communities and got major pushback. And you know, I just have to look back and realize that even the best of the best
These are not
struggle.
unique challenges.
Nah, we're not special in that sense. You
Right.
know, anybody who's stepping out like that, including our heroes, they all took it and they kept going. And we owe it to them and those who came before us to just push through the
And keep
ugliness. And
going.
it does hurt, but to keep on going. Yeah, man.